I'm wildly disappointed because I love the idea of 4 women leading a superhero film. Say MCU all you want. I don't give a shit.
I hate the MCU slogan. I hate it.
It's a different feel compared to what the other MCU stuff.
As representing the decline of Marvel and the rise of the MCU.
Now, I'm sure you've heard the term MCU. It's being used by some fan communities. And yes, the term is extremely offensive, but it's also becoming undeniably true.
Marvel is starting to focus on some of its stronger franchises going forward, but I'll leave it at that.
I am Marvel Jesus.
Nerdrotic.com.
This past February 7th, The Marvels dropped on D+. That also happened to be the very same day that Bob Iger admitted that Disney Marvel failed by repeating the same thing he said about Marvel last year.
Quality needs attention to deliver quality. Doesn't happen by accident. And quantity, in our case, diluted quality. And Marvel suffered greatly from that.
Which was essentially repeating the same thing he said about Star Wars after Solo failed. # Solo lost money. Yet I never get tired of hearing it, and there is no denying that the Marvels killed the MCU, and believe me, that's a good thing. So join me, you over 970,000 Awakening Wonders and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet, and let's go over what a lot of people are collectively asking with Deadpool 3 right around the corner. Can the MCU be saved? The answer is obvious. Yes, and it wouldn't be that hard, but the better question is, will the MCU be saved? Probably not. It's no doubt that the Marvel Cinematic Universe had been committing a very deliberate Mary suicide over the last few years. Captain Marvel, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, The Eternals, Doctor Strange, Mom, Thor 4, Love and Blunder.
Female Thor.
Boo this man!
Antifa Man, Quantum Mania, She-Hulk, and every other thing on D+, just to name a few. Hell, things got so bad, adult pretender Kamal Nanjiani says he needed therapy after the bad reviews for The Eternals. So did everyone who watched it. We're coming up on 5 years since the release of Captain Marvel, and I recall a few of us back then warning you that the MCU would destroy Disney Marvel. There were denials and outright accusations from the corporate access media and Disney towards the fans, calling us a small group of angry bigots. Then the Marvels came along to give the MCU that lethal dose of Canadian healthcare. Ah, the Marvels. Who could forget such good times? The most unanticipated sequel to a billion-dollar film, where the titular character was demoted in her own sequel that turned out to not be a sequel to its predecessor, but an actual sequel to 3 Disney Plus shows no one watched, leading to a movie that no one watched, earning a grand total of $206 million worldwide. That's just a little bit off from Captain Marvel's $1.1 billion at the box office. I believe the difference off the top of my head is $925 million. And let's not forget Bob Iger throwing the Marvel's director Nia DaCosta under the bus by saying that there wasn't enough POC supervision.
Well, the Marvels was shot during COVID. There wasn't as much supervision on the set, so to speak, where we have executives there really looking over what's being done day after day after day.
And in Disney Marvel's infinite wisdom, they decided to release this deleted scene.
Hello? Oh, Captain, my Captain. Oh, you're not my Captain.
Captain Marvel Resonance, this is Mrs. Marvel speaking.
Wait, Mrs. Marvel. She got married again, and no invite again.
No! I'm Ms. Marvel. We're not married, that would be. I'm single.
Okay.
5 seconds to the jump point.
Oh, you might want to triple. I mean, trip in. Oh, you might want to triple. Oh, you might want to triple.
And then follow that up with Echo.
Yes! Yes! Oh! Yes! Yes! Yes!
I'll have what she's having.
But at least Disney Marvel tried to memory hole Echo as much as possible. A reminder, they did try to cancel it altogether, but with the Marvels, they put it on 4K and made a big deal about releasing it on D+. All on the same day, Bob Iger said this.
Marvel is starting to focus on some of its stronger franchises going forward, but I'll leave it at that. One of the things that I've been saying before is that, volume sometimes can be detrimental to quality, and in our zeal to greatly increase volume, partially tied to wanting to chase more global subs for our streaming platform. Some of our studios lost a little focus. So the first step that we've taken is that we've reduced volume.
Bob Iger likes to repeat himself a lot, but the new one was that focus on stronger franchises. That's as close as we'll ever get to Bob Iger admitting failure, which he just did. Now, I know what that means at face value, but what does it mean concerning Disney Marvel? What are their stronger franchises at this point? They don't control the rights to Spider-Man. Captain America is dead. Iron Man's dead. Black Panther is dead. Thor's cucked and the Guardians are gone. And who the hell are the Avengers at this point anyway? Captain Marvel? Shang-Chi? Cucked Thor? Doctor Strange, who's never been able to elevate past side character status, especially considering his last film, and the Avengers might be led by Captain Black America Falcon, and we'll get to that. In 2021, thanks to the government response to the coup, Disney Marvel released 8 pieces of content, 3 films, and 5 D+ series. In 2022, they released 3 films and 3 series, not counting specials, and the same goes for 2023. In 2024, Disney Marvel's only going to release 2 D+ series. One has already come out, Echo, but it didn't make much noise. And the only film announcement for 2024 is the aforementioned Deadpool 3, which finished principal photography 3 weeks ago. And we got our first look with the Super Bowl teaser, and it was all right. Listen, it's great to see Ryan Reynolds back as Deadpool, breaking that fourth wall.
Pegging isn't new for me, friendo, but it is for Disney.
Is it really, though? Anyway, we got a couple of good shots of Wolverine's back, including one of Patch. The only thing that made me cringe was the inclusion of the TVA from Loki. Looks like you're gonna need to do a little homework to see Deadpool and Wolverine, and that's a better title than Deadpool 3. Against my better judgment, I'm pretty confident Deadpool 3 is gonna be a very successful film, and hell, it might be fun. I hope it is. But if it isn't,
Richard, we are
but let's just say Deadpool 3 is the biggest movie of the year. It flies past $1 billion, everyone loves it, and the Access media will cry, the MCU is saved. First, I'd like to thank the Access media in advance for admitting that the MCU needed to be saved, and in a way, admitting that the MCU killed it, because, and I hate this, it took an act of desperation to even get Deadpool 3 going, and to make things even worse, it took an act of desperation to put Wolverine in a costume. Even within the trailer, Deadpool admits Disney Marvel needs to be saved.
Your little cinematic universe is about to change forever. I'm the Messiah.
But can Deadpool and Wolverine do the job? Will it make the show that's going to follow Deadpool and Wolverine, Agatha, whatever the hell it's called this month, any good? No. Will Deadpool and Wolverine make the Captain America sequel without Captain America that's being entirely reshot any better? Probably not. Will Deadpool and Wolverine help Daredevil Born Again, the continuation of the best thing in live action Marvel has ever done? That, along with Captain Black America Falcon, is being entirely reshot. Most of the old gang is back together, including bringing back Foggy and Karen and Bullseye. Unfortunately, this is what Bullseye looks like, and it's missing that key component from the original Netflix show, the writers. Will Deadpool and Wolverine make the Thunderbolts any better? A movie based on a relatively obscure team that only comic book fans would know about, that features exactly 0 members from the original comic book team. But it does feature Pocket Dime Store Black Widow, the Taskmaster.
no.
And Ghost.
Who?
You know, Ghost from The Wasp and Ant-Man.
I'm so confused.
I wasn't sure the Thunderbolts was even going to come out, and apparently neither was Florence Pugh.
It kind of feels like it still might not happen because of the amount of times that it's been paused.
Yeah. Is Deadpool and Wolverine going to make Ironheart any better, which apparently is done? Quick aside, Hollywood thought it was fine to put out this costume, but didn't give us a Wolverine costume for 20 years. Blade has been rewritten so many times I've lost count, but the good news is he won't be surrounded by 4 women fighting another woman. Now he's only going to be led around by his daughter fighting another woman in the 30s, and I'm sure they won't tackle the subject of racism. Speaking of that, Reed Richards is going to be played by Pedro Pascal, the man who called half the country a racist. Unfortunately, Deadpool and Wolverine won't fix any of the problems with the MCU in the same way Spider-Man No Way Home didn't fix any of the problems with Marvel Stage 4 or Phase 5. As a matter of fact, if Deadpool and Wolverine end up being the biggest film this year, it will make the problems worse. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did pretty well and was pretty well received, and it was completely drowned out by the year of the Flopbuster. Again, the perfectly healthy MCU was murdered by the MCU, and it's going to be very difficult to wash out the Marvel's bloodstains from the carpet. I'll tell you what doesn't help. Disney Marvel seems determined to make the Marvels a thing on Twitter. Have a look for yourself. If you search hashtag the Marvels on Twitter, you would think it's the greatest film ever made. You tell me if you see a pattern within these posts. There really should be a study on how the internet convinced thousands of people that the Marvels was bad. No, millions of people. And how people actually believe them. The whole thing is a lesson in how people need to come to their own conclusions and not trust anyone. Oh, so now y'all like the Marvels. Imagine if you had seen it for yourself. Imagine if people just went to watch the Marvels in the theaters instead of letting it bomb and then praising it once it was released on streaming. I will never forgive y'all. I watched the Marvels this morning and absolutely loved it. I'm annoyed they released it during the strike and it had basically zero promotion, the same excuse Disney gave, and that it's getting review bombed because it was entertaining as f***. Anyway, now I'm watching Miss Marvel because Iman Vellani is a wonder. Well, she's tougher and smarter than Kamal Nanjiani. It makes me so happy to see so many people watching and loving the Marvels, as I've loved it from the beginning. I don't know if it was the lying people on the internet or mediocre comic book movie fatigue that kept you away, but I knew this day would come. That one comes from In My Honest Opinion Reviews.
Any man who must say, I am the king, is no true king.
Solid film. Fantastic even. They really tried to gaslight us. Hashtag the Marvels. Watching hashtag the Marvels again during cardio since it's on Disney Plus today, and it was so much fun and good. People are haters, and no one will make me change my mind about this movie, LOL. Right, I've finally seen hashtag the Marvels. It's the most comic booky one in ages. I do not think it deserves all the hate it got. I really enjoyed it.
You're an idiot.
All these I should have seen it in the theaters posts that are happening right now. Stop letting Rotten Tomatoes and incels tell you what movies to watch. Hashtag the Marvels. And it's not just Twitter. From Forbes, watch the Marvels on Disney Plus today, the movie that deserved better, from Paul Tassi.
How about new?
Wow, that was also genuine, grassroots, and authentic. It almost feels like a campaign, and could it be? Maybe. And I look forward to all the Access Media articles that will be written any day now stating that The Marvels is the #1 show on Disney Plus. Of course, it doesn't change the fact that the Captain Marvel sequel had almost $1 billion drop-off from its predecessor, lost hundreds of millions of dollars, and was the biggest flop in the history of the MCU and the MCU, which forced Bob Iger last week to essentially admit that Marvel, along with Disney Star Wars, had completely failed without exactly saying so. And of course he had to, because while stating that they had only lost 1.3 million subscribers on D+ this past quarter, if you go back a calendar year, the year Bob Iger came back, they've lost over 30 million subscribers. So, can the MCU be saved? Yes. All you have to do is cancel all the crappy projects like Black Falcon, Captain America, Agatha, Ironheart, the Thunderbolts, and others. Fast forward to Secret Wars, reset everything, and start over with the Fantastic Four and recast Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and everyone else. Will they fix the MCU? No. You'll have to forgive me if I don't think people like Bob Iger and Kevin Feige, the ones who the MCU, can unfuck it, especially after the total disaster that was the Marvels. Remember, things were so bad, celebrity writers who hadn't even seen the movie tried to white knight for it, including Stephen King doesn't care for the Marvel movies, but says gloating over the Marvels flopping is very unpleasant, and it may be adolescent fanboy hate. I'd be careful there, Stephen King. It's those adolescent fanboys that made you famous until they passed the age of 16 and realized most of your books suck. Not to be outdone, George R.R. Martin decided to chime in. George R.R. Martin says anti-fans rule social media and dance on the graves of movies that flop, like the Marvels. It used to be fun talking about our favorite films. Yes, it used to. And by the way, George, shut up and finish wins a winner. But George is right. Things used to be fun. When they stopped being fun, wasn't the fans' fault. It's when the Hollywood corporate studios decided to get in bed with the corporate access media and turn their guns on you and I. It was Hollywood's biggest mistake, and when it comes to genre, it's something they might not fully recover from. When you buy into the myth of the toxic fan or the anti-fan and throw those labels out there, you don't know who you're going to unintentionally piss off. And quite frankly, it's a lot of people who are very quietly going to walk away because there is no such thing as an anti-fan. There's only fans. There is no such thing as a modern audience. There's only the audience. And if you give them something good, they'll show up. And if you shit on them, they will dance on the graves of your flops. That's why the Marvels killing the MCU is a good thing, because you can't change until you hit bottom. And if Deadpool and Wolverine is good and successful, it'll just prove our point. Listen, I would love to see the terms MCU and woke Hollywood retired, and I hope Disney and Hollywood get around to it someday.
Nerdrotic.com.
If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.